Welcome back to this week's episode of the Out of Here podcast. Summoning Salt and Just Alex coming with another episode. The Giants went 3-3 this week. What are your thoughts?
I mean, some pretty bad stuff, but overall some pretty good stuff. So, I guess that's what you get with 3-3. So,
It's great. Some pretty good stuff and some pretty bad. Let's talk
I mean,
to.
one blowout and then the blowout loss and some closer games, which are good.
Yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
they. I mean, so you knew the St. Louis series is going to be tough. Obviously, 3-game
yeah.
series. Like you're hoping to win it, but obviously they did not, and it kind of got away from them toward the end of the series. Carlos Rodon had his one blowout start of the year. They lost 15-6.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really too much to say, but they just out the gate, they just pounded him. It was rough.
Yeah, I mean that was a fun game though because you saw Luis Gonzalez pitch and Pujols pitch. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I think so. This episode we're probably going to focus a little more. There's a few players we wanted to highlight their performance of rather than going over game by game like we normally do. But the gist of it, anyone who missed, the Giants lost 2 out of 3 in St. Louis, and they won 2 out of 3 in Colorado. So a 3-3 road trip, which you'll take it and move on. But I will just say one thing: this definitely doesn't seem like the 2021 like they're always going to find a way to win Giants, but it does still feel definitely a playoff team, like 90 something win team.
Yeah, I mean, over 107 wins doesn't happen every year. That's why it was so special last season. Like, I mean, this is a solid team. A lot of it is the same. There's new pieces, some are gone, but like, yeah, you're just not going to see that much success, most likely.
Well, it's also the way they were winning. Like, if you so today's game against the Rockies, right? They're
Mhm.
down to first off, last year's bullpen, I don't think blows this game. But even if they
Yeah.
did, you're down 2 going into the last inning. I feel like somehow, some way, the tying run would have come to the plate, and you know there would have been a chance. But this time it was a 1-2-3 inning with weak ground balls and a strikeout looking, and it's like, oh god, that was really
Well,
bad.
that's true, but I definitely think it is a factor of they got Daniel Bard while he's in a groove because the last time he showed up he was pretty good, and then this game is pretty solid. So
Yeah, Daniel Bard,
he's like Jekyll and Hyde, could be very
yeah,
wild at times.
he's also a 37-year-old throwing 100 miles an hour, which is
Yeah.
pretty crazy. About to turn 37, but yeah, no, I mean, credit to the Rockies. They played the Giants pretty well. Their defense is pretty crappy, but they're still a hard team to beat in their ballpark just because it's, yeah, like it's all over the place, the offense with them. So
Yeah.
all right, so some players we wanted to talk about. I think I want to start with some of our pitchers because, look, you can't
Yeah.
put too much stock into what just happened at Coors Field because it's Coors Field, but
Mhm.
still, in a way, not. There are some discouraging signs from some players, but some others that are, still looking good.
Yeah, I would definitely say like the bullpen is kind of where it's kind of looked suspect for some players. I think there are three or so that have kind of struggled.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like we've already talked about McGee before. There's also kind of Leone and now Alvarez, who've kind of not really had the same success that they had last season.
Yeah, Littell you could probably also throw onto that
Yeah.
list, but just going one at a time. Dom Leone, his ERA looks good right now. He's 284,
Mhm.
which that's fantastic for a guy in your bullpen. But his underlying numbers, his WHIP is over 1.4. He's still striking out like a batter per inning, but his hits per nine is over 11. People they're hitting him hard. They really are making good contact off him. And again, I was not going into this season expecting like 1.4 what was his ERA? 1.5 last year or something.
Yeah, somewhere around there, 1.5.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean he's clearly not the same guy. It's just we're hoping, I feel like he could kind of go either way right now. Like he could sink
Yeah.
his ERA a little lower, or it could balloon up to 4 or 5.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been like as bad as McGee, but it's just definitely something to monitor. Like it just hasn't been as crisp.
Yeah, I'll say also one thing that's a little discouraging about the bullpen as a whole is we really seem to only have one good left-handed reliever, and it's Harleen Garcia, who's a god among men. But I mean, our other options for lefties out of the pen, it's Jose Alvarez, who really hasn't looked amazing, especially not today.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I will say about today though, like he was kind of put into a rough spot because he had to face righties right after his first batter he faced, which was Blackman, I think, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
He faced Crone, who just crushed him. Like, you know, it's not exactly the expected result, but lefty against righty, like power hitter like that, definitely possible when you're put into that situation.
But yeah, like just when you look at lefties in our pen as a whole, it's Alvarez, who's been Jake McGee, who I don't know if we're going to see much of him the rest of the way. I mean, hope he figures it out, but
I think I did see something where he pitched in Sacramento today and he got shut out inning. So that's hopefully
yeah, it's
something he
something.
can translate over to the majors.
So yeah, Sam Long, who I mean, I'd like to see more of him. He's definitely
Mhm.
not crazy good or anything, but his curveball is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of rough for him right now. He's stuck in limbo, kind of like not really playing for on the big club, but he's still just sitting here, kind of waiting.
And then our other left-handed relief pitcher, Luis Gonzalez. That was a
Uh,
fun game, wasn't it?
yeah, I mean, it was cool to see him and Pujols pitch.
Who
That's for
did
sure.
better though? One of them did way better than the other.
Yeah, the other one hit a home run off the
Yeah,
other.
yeah. I had no idea Luis Gonzalez. He was a straight up two-way player in college. Like he would start like 10 games a year for New Mexico. He wasn't good though at pitching at all. Like his ERA was 6, 5.5, and 6.5 in his 3 seasons. So I think it's good he kind of started to focus on hitting because he was always way better on offense than pitching. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's interesting. I had no idea he was a pitcher at all. That was interesting.
yeah. I mean, okay. Speaking about Luis Gonzalez, he
Yeah,
got optioned in between the two series.
just wasn't good enough. Not a good enough player.
Yeah, 350 batting average and overall seeming like one of the best hitters on the team for that like stretch of that he was here.
Yeah.
Tough.
It's interesting. We were talking right before we started the podcast. Someone's got to give on the Giants here because it's like they have a lot of options that are good, but at the same time they're not really getting the results they want from their offense always. So someone's going to give, and Gonzalez is going to come back because he's been really good. And to me, it's seeming like it might be Evan Longoria.
Yeah, the hard part with Longoria is just the amount of money that they have
Mm-hmm.
put into him, and he's a veteran who has all-star level like talent as a player, but he's getting up there in age, and it's just not been there in most of his Giants career.
Yeah, I mean, I was encouraged after last year because obviously he was really good last year. But I don't know. I mean, it's a small sample size so far.
Yeah,
He's just coming back from injury, so who knows? But
yeah.
yeah, coming into today's game, he was 4 for 19. He hadn't drawn a walk yet. No homers. He had that one double. He had like one good game. It was
Mhm.
I forget which game it was. It looks like it was. Yeah, he went 2 for 4 against the Cardinals in the last game, so that was encouraging. But yeah, then today he went 0 for 4 again. So
Yeah, I definitely think that they got to give him more games to let him settle in. But I mean, with how David Villar is playing in AAA, it's kind of hard to kind of ignore what he's doing.
Yeah, the Sacramento River Cats. So this Giants offense right now, it's good, but clearly could be better. It's like there's a few players playing really well still, but then you got guys like Evan Longoria who just aren't really producing, and then you look at the River Cats, and it's like you got people like David Villar with a 1094 OPS, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of it's not really fair to say that their offense isn't doing well because they are scoring a lot of runs per game, right? I think something like 5 something runs per game, which is second in the league, only behind the Dodgers or the NL All Star team.
Yeah, they're particularly doing like their runners in scoring position numbers, I believe, are pretty strong.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell too, because like offense is down league wide, but you got players like Casali, Slater, Luis Gonzalez before he got optioned, who've been very good, but a lot of the guys who you like to be a little more reliable, like Brandon Crawford, and Jock Peterson, even they've been struggling big time lately. So
yeah. Oh, how about there's another player we kind of haven't mentioned yet. Tommy La Stella coming back
yeah,
during this series, and he was really good for the 2 games he played in.
yeah, Tommy LaStella. I love Tommy LaStella. Like he's my guy, and he delivered a leadoff home run to outer space. It seemed like it was like never coming down, and then yeah, he's doing his thing. He still hasn't struck out yet. I don't, he'll probably strike out, maybe 20 times before the season's over, and that'll be about it. So yeah, I'm hype.
Yeah, I mean, I will say the hard part is really finding a place for him to play on the field because,
Second base.
well, I'm mostly talking about this because Tyro, like during this series, he started playing a lot better hitting wise.
But
Um,
his OPS is 640.
yeah, I know, but you saw today's game where he got like 3 hits, right, or something close
Let
to
me see
that.
his numbers today. Um, yeah, he was 3 for 3 today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
okay, that's true.
he's got solid games, and even yesterday's game, I think he was really good too. Like I guess
It's
really
great
what
that he could hit well at Coors Field. That's
yeah.
good, but no, I mean he's fine. He's a fine player,
And
and he's
his
gonna play.
defense,
Yeah,
like I don't there's not much we saw from Lestall last season defensively. Like he just didn't play in that many games, but I
he's
feel like
like an average defender,
yeah, I
a
feel
little
like
below average.
Tyro's pretty much like a shortstop's range at second base, which is good. And he saw a couple plays yesterday's game, um, where he was looking really good. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I mean they'll platoon them, but I think at the end of the day, Listell is the better player all around. Thank you, Tyro Estrada. He's played in just about every game the Giants have played, I believe, and he's good. But yeah, I mean, Listell is probably going to play more at the end of the day. I think he's a better offensive. I don't know. I mean, I like Listell a lot, so I feel like I'm a little biased or something. But
Yeah, I mean, I will say that offensively, Listella definitely seems to add more to the table. But they will like definitely platoon them, like they platoon their whole outfield and all that.
well, you like Marco Scutero, don't you? Wasn't he like your favorite
Yeah,
Giant?
Scooter was my favorite 2012 Giant when they had that run.
Yeah, look up his numbers and then look at what Listella typically does in a season, and you're gonna find a lot of similarities. Doesn't strike out much, decent batting average, not too much power, but reliable player. Can hit it out when he needs to.
I mean, is he gonna hit 362 during 2012 in like half a season?
I mean, wait, 2019, this guy had an 832 OPS. I don't know if Scudero's ever really hitting those marks. So
Scooter got 859 during his 2012 half of the season with the Giants.
okay, well, we could take half seasons all day. It's easy.
I mean, I I just I don't know. I always kind of remembered him just being a scrappy player that always got like really good at bats and
Blue
always
collar
got
worker.
those always got those hits when they needed them. especially during
Yeah,
that
he
season.
played on the A's and the Giants, just like Stella. So I don't know, man. They seem similar. But yeah, no. I guess we could kind of go position by position too. Just look at a few options. But first base, it's Belts. Unfortunately, Brandon Belt, he's been kind of slumping lately, which is what he tends to do. He gets hot and cold, but man, he hasn't been the same lately.
Yeah, I mean, he's still working the counts, but he's not really getting any results after that, which is like the main problem right now.
Yeah.
It's no results.
And the power too seems to be lacking a bit. He hasn't homered since April 20th against New York. He had 4 home runs in his first 12 games and then nothing since then. And his numbers have kind of just been steadily dropping ever since. He's only had, is this right? He's had 1 extra base hit since April 24th. That's pretty
I
bad.
mean, I have no idea if that's true or not, but I guess
No,
so.
he was on the COVID IL, but yeah, I'm looking up his game logs right now, and yeah, before today, did he get? I think he had a hit today.
Yeah, he
That's
had
right.
one broken bat single today.
Yeah, but then before that, I mean, he was 0 for his last 13. He struck out 5 times, which yeah, he when he gets cold, he does tend to strike out more, which is like no kidding, like everyone does that. But you could tell just by his strikeout totals, like if he's doing well or if he's not. So yeah, I don't know. Hope to turn it around soon for him, but it's still his position whenever he's healthy.
Yeah, I mean, he with every slump that he has, he usually has that bounce back. So just hope it's sooner rather than later.
I think first base is one of the few positions where it's almost always the same player for the Giants. Like they don't platoon that much at first base.
Also, shortstop for Crawford.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get to him in a minute. I'm gonna mention it too, but yeah, no, he's first base. Occasionally they could DH Belt if they want like rougher Wade to play first, but but yeah, we can move to short now. Talk about Crawford a bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's always got the glove, which is a nice constant to have, but you're really kind of hoping for more with his bat, especially after last season. It's kind of been lacking so far.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack with Crawford, but the gist of it is just his OPS is it's 659, which is not very good. His defense, like you said, is still there, but yeah, it's disappointing. He seems to be hitting, just looking at his numbers, he's hitting more ground balls than he really ever has in his career. His hard hit percentage is 29.5%. And to compare, last year it was 43%. So way less power, which makes sense given that he's hit only 3 home runs up to this point. You'd like to get some more from him than that. But again, it's his position. Like no one else is going to play shortstop as long as he's healthy.
And they just traded Dubon, so that's even more like you're staying at shortstop pretty much every day.
Yeah, and there's no, even with Dubon, there's I mean, they'd probably rest Crawford every 2 or 3 weeks or something.
Yeah, once every 2 weeks probably at most.
Yeah. All right, third base, which is one of the more interesting positions for the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's between Flores and Longoria, and like basically Longoria's got the better glove, so he should be fielding, playing there, but Flores has usually had the more consistent bat as a Giant, so it's kind of a trade-off.
Yeah, I mean, really, they have more options than that if they want to, because LaStella can play third. Because you were talking before, you want Estrada in the lineup, then you could stick LaStella at third. But you also have Jason Vossler, who they haven't had play in a while, but he had an 852 OPS before he was sent down.
Yeah, I mean, he was looking good in his short time up, but I definitely think he's kind of another one of those guys that the Giants always kind of just send up and down when they really need him.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really like you're a mainstay guy.
Yeah, It's tough to say though with him because he did put up really good numbers and pretty small sample size in 12 games, but still 852 is a pretty solid OPS. Um, but yeah, and then also at third base, you got David Villar, who's been really interesting to see him play for the River Cats this year.
Yeah, I mean, the power is undeniable. Like he's got
Mhm.
12 home runs at least now, and
It's more
he's
than
just
that though.
yeah. I mean, he's doing more than just hitting home runs. His average is up there.
He walks a lot.
Yeah, and like it's definitely something where you gotta monitor. If he can continue this, he's got to get called up soon. Like, I've been leaning towards he'll definitely be up by next season, but if he continues what he's doing right now, it's got to be somewhere closer to the middle of the season where he gets his call up.
Yeah, I mean, Villar's interesting too because he's had like an upward trajectory in his career. Because 2019 he was single A with San Jose, 755 OPS, and then last year with double A, 881 OPS, and then this year he's with the River Cats in triple A, and it's an 1100 OPS he's rolling with, which is yeah, it's incredible. So third base for the Giants is it's so wide open. Normally it feels like it's going to be Longoria's position to lose, but I think he could be losing it if he doesn't turn it around here because you've got Flores, you've got David Villar, right on your tail, and either one of those guys could just end up being, more of a mainstay than
Yeah.
Longoria.
Do you know when the All Star break is? Like, or like trade deadline time? Like around there. Do you know when that is?
I know the All Star break. It looks like it's July 18th through 20th.
Okay. Do you think they'll give like Longoria kind of like that time period to see if he can like really pick it back up again after his injury and stuff? And then if
So you're
not,
you're proposing they might trade him? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying like it's possible if they really feel Villar is ready. Like I feel like sending him down is or sending one of them down, which wouldn't happen because they'd get picked up, right? So like
So I think he's going to be hard to trade because
yeah.
you so like baseball obviously doesn't have a salary cap, but
Mhm.
still he's you're paying him $20 million a season right now. So if you're going to trade him, you need an owner, you need like a Steve Cohen or someone like that who's willing to just pay whatever for a player. But again, like most of the teams that would want another player, like a player who's doing well, like the Mets, like they'd probably be a good team already. So are they really going to want Longoria's $20 million contract to get a player who's, really not looking that great? Like, I don't know if they're going to be able to execute a trade.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not really sure what the Giants would do if at this point with Villar knocking on the door, like what happens at third base if they
Yeah.
really want to call him up. It's a tough decision.
One way or another, they're going to find a way to platoon. That's obvious.
Yeah.
But,
I
but
mean,
yeah,
another thing is that all three of these third basemen are right-handed hitters, so like it's not really a platooning thing. It's kind of just like
yeah.
who's gonna be the best guy for the team.
Kapler will teach Villar how to hit left-handed and he'll platoon him. No, it's a good point though. It's like I guess it's the outfield. They tend to platoon a little more than the infield, but
Yeah, because you don't really get like I don't really know that many left-handed hitter like third baseman unless they're a switch hitter. Really,
yeah. Do you want? Yeah, that's yeah. What that's
I guess
that's third base. Third basemen are
Vossler's
always
the only
right-handed.
one. Vossler's the only one who's a left-handed hitter, but he's not really like only third base, right? He can be like
Yeah, they
a little
move them
bit.
around a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right though. I forgot it's third base. It's almost always going to be a righty unless they switch hit, but still they'll find a way to platoon. It'll happen. It's the Giants. Do you want to look at catchers?
Yeah.
Which of these two catchers has been doing better
I
lately?
mean,
What's your analysis?
one just had a really good series in Colorado, and even St. Louis. I think he had a home run, right?
Yeah,
Casale has been on a pretty good tear the last week.
Yeah, Kirk Casale's on fire. He's rocking an 826 OPS and a 137 OPS plus, and for a catcher, those are fantastic numbers. Is it sustainable? He's probably not going to be having an OPS over 800 the rest of the season, although he has played very well for stretches in the past. He's never played a full season, but looking like 2018 with the Reds, Casale played in 52 games, which isn't nothing, and he had an 805 OPS, which is pretty darn good. Overall for his career, he's a 94 OPS plus guy, so a little below average hitter. But for a catcher, that translates to positive OWAR. So to me, he is seeming like a better option than Joey Bart, like hands down.
Yeah, and also like behind the plate, he's a really solid catcher. So like
Bart is too, though.
I'm saying like it kind of feels even between them, but then hitting, he's ahead right now.
Yeah, I would say he's probably a little ahead behind the plate and way ahead with offense,
which is kind of worrisome about Bart. But like, because the clock's ticking, people were kind of expecting him to really break out starting the season. It just strikeout numbers.
Yeah, did he strike out? Was it 3 times today?
At least twice. I don't know how many times he came up today. I know he popped out like 1 time.
Yeah, he came up 4 times. I think.
Oh, okay. Then it was probably 3 strikeouts.
Yeah.
And like at least 3 of those at bats were runners like in scoring position, like huge moments, and he just couldn't pull through.
Yeah, I'm trying to calculate his what his strikeout rate would be, just factoring this in. So he's at 65, so it's 69 at bats with it's going to be 37 strikeouts. Although we want to look at plate appearances probably instead of at bats. So 84 is the denominator, and we get a 44% strikeout rate for Joey Bart this season in terms of his plate appearances, which is too high by a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like one thing that the rest of the team has been pretty good at has been getting those like sac flies, productive outs, getting a run, but he's had those chances and he can't do it. It's just hurting the team that way.
He does walk quite a bit. That's great attribute. But yeah, man, when you're striking out, like 33% is a high strikeout rate. If you're pushing above that, like you're going to really struggle to be a big leaguer. Yeah. And to be 11 percentage points above that is way too much.
The weird part about like his stats so far though, right, is like his OPS plus is above 100 right now, is what I'm seeing.
It may have fallen after this.
It may have fallen, but it's still like around 100, which is like, it's kind of crazy considering all his strikeouts and stuff.
Well, it's also because OPS plus, right? That doesn't.
It doesn't worry about it, but like, it's still kind of weird to see like hit.
Well, it's because he's walking so much, and the fact that he's hit 4 homers. One of them was off Pujols, but still, Pujols is a Hall of Famer, so but yeah, no, I mean strikeouts are worse than regular outs in most cases, and I mean OPS plus isn't going to capture that. But yeah, 185 batting average. His on base percentage is up to 338 because he's walking a lot,
which is better than like some of the guys that are hitting every day on the team. So like it's kind of weird. It's just such weird.
That's almost even with Casale actually.
It's just he's almost there. If he can just get those strikeout numbers down, I feel like he'd be really like a solid hitter on the team. It's a glaring problem, and he just hasn't been able to solve it yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at what his strikeout rate was in AAA last year. Oh wow! Do you want to guess what his strikeout rate was in AAA last year? Because it's 43% or 44% this year.
Am I going lower or higher?
No, just take a guess. I want to hear what you think.
30.
It was only 29%.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's AAA, so.
But that's the thing. How much of it is because this is MLB instead of AAA, and how much of it is the fact that he might have regressed somehow?
I don't really know if he's regressed. I think it's just like because the power is obviously there. He can when he hits it, it's pretty hard almost every time.
Well,
So,
yeah, but there's different ways to regress. I mean, yeah, he's hit the ball hard. He's
and
hitting
I
the ball
think
harder,
I
but
think as a defender too, he's really improved. Like as a catcher. Um,
yeah, but I mean, in terms of his strikeouts, okay, so he was with the team in 2020. He was on the big
yeah,
league team, and his strikeout rate was 36.9% then instead of 44.
yeah.
So it's I mean, it's a regression. It has to be, and
How many?
it's
Okay, so 33 games in, yeah, or 33
mhm.
games played in the 2020 season. So like, I guess we'll have to see like 10 more games, and if you can get that number down, then it'll pretty much be the same guy. But
But the fact of the matter is, I think it's time to put him back in AAA. I also am pretty sure that that's not going to happen. But
yeah,
it's tough, man. It's really tough to watch him some days.
no, I mean it was definitely an issue today because, like I said, we he had three opportunities at least to knock runs in, and he couldn't do it,
Hmm.
and and they lost by 2 runs after the home run in the eighth inning. So they really could have used those runs.
Should we take a quick look at the outfield now? Just see what we can piece together.
Yeah,
So just list of outfielders that the Giants have used and that are healthy. Jock Peterson, Mike Yastrzemski, Darren Ruff, Austin Slater, Lamont Wade Jr. Those are kind of your main guys
yeah.
right now.
Yaz has been probably the best one out of all of those.
Yeah, man. If we get 2020 or 2019 Yaz back, that's going to be so huge.
Yeah, I mean his at bats just look so much better compared to last season. Like
Mhm.
last season, he pretty much had a hole in his swing at like the upper right quadrant of the zone. He
Yeah.
couldn't hit anything pitched up there. Like it
Yeah.
just looks so much better this season.
Yeah, his strikeout rate is lower than it's ever been in his career right now. It's just 17%, just a little lower than 44%. Cough, cough, Joey Bart. He's walking about as much as he normally does. He's hitting the ball about as hard as he did 2020, 2019. It's like every part of his game is coming together right now. He's still very good on defense as well.
Yeah,
It's nice to see.
I mean his speed is his one of his biggest assets
Mhm.
on the defensive side. It's just very nice.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I mean, I would be thrilled to. I like it's hard to say if it'll continue for sure, but I will say this: last year we were waiting for him to like bust out of the slump, and it never really happened. So
Yeah.
maybe this year it's the opposite. Where we're waiting for a regression. It's never going to happen. Hopefully.
I mean, it was kind of interesting to me to see last season. Like he was pretty much slumping the whole season, but he still ended up with 25 home runs. So
Yeah. Yeah.
at least he had something to produce on the offensive side.
Part of that is because I believe he got more at bats than just about any Giant on the
Yeah,
team. It
he
was
was pretty
second to
much
Crawford.
like leadoff hitter or like
Yeah.
two hole like all season for him,
Um,
almost all
Jock
season.
Jock Peterson, he's definitely regressed a bit lately. Kind of like under the radar. Like, I don't think anyone's even talking about it that much, but Jock's hasn't been the same guy lately.
Yeah, I mean he just is slumping. Like he hasn't really gotten anything. Like he couldn't. I haven't really noticed his at bats. Like that's kind of how poor they've been.
Yeah.
It's just
He,
nothing produced from him so far
he
since
has
coming
hit the
back.
ball hard a few times, but he's not getting much to drop, and he's kind of still struggling to hit it over the fence again. But I do have faith that he's going to turn it around.
Yeah,
I think our expectations for him have to be like 750 to 800 OPS guy instead of, you know, 1,000 like he was briefly at the start of the year.
yeah. I mean, I think it was just. I think he's been known to be kind of streaky.
Yeah.
Like so, just like we said with Bell, just hope he can turn it around sooner rather than later.
Darren Ruff, do you still like him? What do you think?
He's definitely turned it around. I think today was kind of a rough game for him, but
Yeah.
like overall for the last 2 3 weeks, he's been much better, and hits are starting to fall for him. Um, I think One minor issue is he's only got one home run, but like maybe that's just the ball overall
Well,
for
it's
the whole
hard to.
league.
He is hitting the ball very hard still,
Yeah.
but it looks in his fly ball rate is about the same too. It's like I don't. It's hard to say why he hasn't had more homers. Honestly, he
Well, he
should.
he did have a ton at the beginning of the season where they were just like right at the wall and they were just
Yeah,
caught. And so that's probably where a lot of them have gone.
yeah.
Um,
He's actually striking out less than he has at any point in his career right now too. So
yeah, I mean, I it's just I guess I just haven't. You just don't really notice his production as much when it's not a home run. I guess for
mhm.
like the casual fan, because like a lot of the times where last season he was just crushing the ball out of the park, and it looked like he was having a really good season, and he was, and hasn't been the same yet.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not too worried about him. I think he's leading the team in walks as well, which is that's classic Darren Ruff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, he's trending up, and I think he's going to get back to like an 800 OPS sort of guy. But yeah, I mean, I have faith in him. He's a good player. Um, I think really quickly, because we're running out of time here, I'd like to just do a quick preview of the next series against
Yeah.
the Padres. It's going to be a 3-game homestand, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Probably not going to be able to watch the first game, but the second two I definitely will. Yeah, it can be interesting pitching matchups. Jacob Junis against Sean Manaea on Friday. What do you think about that?
I think Junis will pull through.
Yeah.
Though I think the Giants have struggled against Mania like whenever they've played him, but I don't remember really.
Yeah, to an extent. Manaea's not that great of a pitcher. Watched him in Oakland for a few years. He's okay. He's pitching like that this year, 377 earned run average, but can't compete with the god Jacob Junis, 174 ERA. So, yeah, game 2 it's going to be Rodon against Musgrove. Those are like the two aces of each team right there.
Yeah, I mean you just gotta hope Rodon, goes back to normal. I think that last start was just kind of just a blip that
Yeah.
will go away.
Yeah, no, I'm not worried about Rodon. I mean, if he does like 2 or 3 more in a row, then sure. But one game isn't really a cause for concern, especially after how good he's been. So, yeah, no, Rodon versus Musgrove. The only problem there is just you're going against Joe Musgrove, who is also a really good pitcher. So,
yeah, I mean, this Padres team has been pretty good, especially without Tatis to start the season. So,
yeah, it's true. And then finally, Sunday, it's Alex Wood in against to be determined from the Padres.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Wood's been good. He's been goodish, Wood.
He's been pretty much similar to last season.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very consistently inconsistent. I mean, he'll be upper 3 ERA, upper 3s ERA is pretty much typical from him. So yeah, all right. I guess we can wrap it up there if you have anything else to add.
Well, I just hope they can get at least 2 wins against the Padres.
Yeah,
Right.
big series. You don't want to
Yeah.
lose ground after a 3-3 road trip, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, hope for the best. Should be a really good series. This might be one where we want to recap it early next week instead of waiting for a full week. So we'll see what happens. But till then, go Giants. Hope they can win the series. And this one is over.